Hi there, welcome to this yin yoga practice. Today working with your hips, your spine, your back body, and also coming into the side body a little bit today. So you don't need a huge amount in way of props, but if you do have a couple of yoga bricks, then these will be really helpful. If you don't have bricks, you can always use books that are about the same size to one another, or cushions as well. Quite firm cushions will work. So just make sure you've got something that you can grab from your house and place that next to your mat, and then we'll begin. So we're going to start in a supine Baddha Konasana posture, cobbler's pose. So you'll need your blocks to go either side of you. And we bring the soles of the feet together. Now you don't need to force your legs really close towards you here. Fairly comfortable distance away from your pelvis. And then your blocks or your cushions or your books are going to just come up just underneath the top of your thigh, so towards your hip. And then we lower down onto the back. Some of you might find it easier to lie on your back first and then bring the soles of the feet together. And then your arms can rest down by the side, palms up if that's comfortable for you. So this posture is a wonderful way to start to open the hips. So you may be feeling some sense of opening and lengthening coming through the inside of your thighs. And as always in the yin yoga practice, not going too far too soon. So make sure you have adequate support under your legs. Get more support if you need to. Because we spend minutes here rather than seconds, it's really important that you are comfortable, or at least comfortable enough that you can bear to be here for this length of time. So of course in the yin yoga practice we are stretching, quite literally stretching the body, but also stretching ourselves. The challenge perhaps is the slowing down. But it should never feel painful to be here. And so it can take a few moments before your mind comes to the moment, away from perhaps the activities of your day so far, and that everything starts to connect, your mind, your body, and your breath. So acknowledge now that this is your time for you to open and stretch your body, working in a way that is both gentle yet powerful. And so the longer we remain in a posture, the more we start to dissolve different layers of tension. So there may be physical tension in your muscles and tissues, in your bones, but also layers of emotional tension and mental tension, And that's why, even though it can feel like we're lying here not doing very much, there might be something going on beneath the surface. So just being aware that when we start to open the physical body, we are also opening the emotional, mental, and energetic bodies. And as we open up all these different aspects of ourselves through the yoga practice, we can use the slow pace of yin yoga to help us stay present with our experience so that we're not immediately rushing to change something, fix something, distract ourselves, but that we learn to just be with whatever is unfolding. And with time and with practice, this transpires into our everyday life, our life off the yoga mat. And so when you feel ready to move from here, sometimes it's helpful, you can use your hands just to help you lightly lift your legs towards one another. And then slide your bricks away from you, walk your feet towards the edge of the mat and rest your knees on top of one another and your hands just on your belly. So just to relax your hips for a moment. And then bring your hands down by your sides, but slightly further away from your hips. Keep your feet wide, but point your knees up to the ceiling. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, let your knees drop to the left and your gaze to the right. And just hold here. So we'll take a few breaths here in this twist. Ideally, you're keeping your feet wide, but if this is causing you any pain in your knee joint, then just slide that right leg over the left leg. Enjoy your breath. Enjoy the softness in your abdomen. And then use your inhale, come back to center, rolling the back of your head along the mat. And as you exhale, taking that twist to the other side. Knees going to the right, gaze to the left. So this is beginning to stretch your side body, your outer hips. Also gently stretching the muscles of your back and your diaphragm muscle inside your ribs. It's really this stretching your side body, front body, back body that helps us to find the space for the diaphragm muscle to move more freely, so that the breath becomes naturally a little bit larger and expansive. Use your inhale, come all the way back to center. Bring your hands a little closer down towards your hips now. Walk your feet so they're in line with your hips. And then take your right leg and place your foot just above your left knee. So you can stay here. This is a good place to stay. If you're already feeling some openness across your right hip. And then otherwise we can lift this left leg towards us, catch hold of the leg. If it's tricky for you to hold your leg, do feel free to use a strap or a scarf to hook under your thigh. Remember, this is a slow practice, so you might do this posture in hatha yoga classes, but perhaps for not as long as we will be doing today. So if at any point it gets too much, just put your left foot back down to the floor. So as you hold the posture for a little bit longer than perhaps you're used to, you might start to notice how your body is responding to the posture in a slightly deeper way. So you might notice changes to your body just simply by holding the posture. You might notice, for example, that left leg with no real effort just comes a little closer towards you. Or you may have a sense of broadening across the left side of your pelvis at the back. When you're ready to come out, Gently release your left foot down to the floor. Bring your arms out in line with your shoulders and just rest there for a second. Slide your right knee over your left. Wiggle your hips over to the right and let your knees drop down to the left. Let gravity just take them. If this twist is a bit too much for you, just uncross your legs so that your right knee is on top of your left knee rather than crossed over it. Remember to give yourself time to soften and adjust to the posture. Let go of the effort. Let your body be heavy. Now you can keep your right arm outstretched, or you can bring that arm in line with the ear so that your hand is pointing to the wall behind you. If you choose to take this second arm position, you can always then move to the third, which is to bend your elbow and place your hand behind your head and let your head be heavy on your hand, as if your head was a paperweight weighing down a piece of paper. So these are just a couple of options for you to explore. So to come out of the position, you might just want to bring your right arm onto your side, and then either keeping the legs crossed or uncrossing them first, roll onto your back, and then gently release your legs. So both legs straight, arms down by the side, and take a few breaths here. Noticing the difference between the two sides of your body. This right side, hopefully feeling a bit longer now, a bit more open compared to the left. Let's take that short sequence onto the other side. So we start with the knees bent, feet about hip distance apart. Taking that left ankle over the top of the right knee. Remember, you have the option to stay here. If you're feeling some sensation around your left hip, this is a great place to be. If you want to take it a little bit deeper, lifting as you inhale that right leg off the floor, taking your thigh, using a strap to hold on to the thigh if you need to. So this is a version of pigeon pose on the back. And so focusing primarily on your left hip here, around your glute, your piriformis muscle. But as we hold the posture for longer, you may Also feel some sensation on your right side, particularly the right side of your lower back. You can start to really relax and release into the floor here, which can be a really lovely feeling, particularly if you do get tension and tightness in your lower back. So a few more full deep breaths here. And then nice and gently as you exhale, letting that right foot come down to the floor. Bring your arms into a T-shaped position, take a rest. And then sliding that left knee over the right knee, taking your hips to the left and dropping your knees to the right as you come to take your supine twists. Remember, you have the option just to bring one knee on top of the other for a slightly gentler version. And once your body's had a few moments to land and settle, you can explore the different arm positions. So keeping your left arm outstretched in this way is a real sense of deep twist here. It brings a sense of stability to the twist. Your knees are drawing you to one direction, your arm and shoulder drawing you to the other. The second option from here is to reach that left arm so it's up behind the head. So less of a twist here, but more of a length through the side body. And then the third option from here is bending your elbow, sliding your hand just under your head, so not trying to lift your head. In fact, the opposite, letting your head press your arm down. And in this third version, we've got the length for the side body and also coming a little bit more back to the original twisting action. So what's wonderful about these videos is you can come back to them as often as you like. You can explore these different arm positions with each practice. It's quite good not to fidget too much in the postures. You can, of course, make small adjustments. But once you find an arm position that you're comfortable with, just staying with that then for the remainder of the time in the pose. Preparing to come out now. So you might find it easier on your shoulder if you bring your left arm into your body and then rolling onto your back, either with your legs crossed or uncrossing them first, all the way onto the back, and then just resting here, legs straight, arms down by the side. So giving your body the chance to recover really from that very deep stretch, deep opening. And then coming into our next position, beginning by bringing the arms up overhead. And then taking hold of your right hand with your left and reaching your arm over to the left. And as you do this, you could lift your head and move your head and shoulders over slightly so that you curve the upper part of your body. And now slide your left leg out wide to the side, perhaps off your mat. And now bring your right leg towards your left. So you're shaped a little bit like a banana. And you can deepen this stretch by crossing your left foot over your right. So it's like a little bit of an anchor. So we're stretching this right side of the body. If this is a bit much for your shoulders, you can always leave out the arm stretch and just work with your legs. So enjoy a few more slightly fuller, deeper breaths. And notice where the breath can move in your body, how you're creating all this space in the right side of your torso and hip. And then nice and slowly, let your head and arms slide back to center. Let go of your right hand. Slide your hands down to your hips, uncross at the ankles, and walk your heels back so that you're in a more neutral position. And then we'll take it to the other side, reaching the arms up overhead, taking hold of the left hand with the right. You can also hold your wrist or your forearm, and then reaching your arms, taking your head and your shoulders with you as you stretch over to the right, walking your right foot wide, perhaps off the mat, drawing your left foot towards your right foot, and then taking that right foot over the left. So curving your body, the shape of a banana is actually called banana pose. And taking this important stretch for the side body. The side body is often a neglected part of the body, but it is the part of the body that we lose flexibility in as we age more quickly than any other part of the body, so I believe. When the side body is tight and tense, it makes it very difficult for us to breathe fully. Our breath is designed to move in all directions, forward, backwards, and to the side. And you may notice just by bringing your body into this shape how your breath is also changing, that there's more space for your breath on this left side of your torso, your hip. A few more breaths. And then gently releasing your arms, sliding your head back to a more neutral position, uncrossing at the ankles, walking your heels back, and having a rest here. And then bending up the knees and rolling gently to your side. Making your way all the way up to sitting now. And we're going to sit in the same position that we started in, Baddha Konasana. So with the feet together and the knees wide. And again, just at the start of the class, you don't need to draw your legs towards you. You can slide the heels further away. And we'll just start sitting tall here. So hands just rest wherever's comfortable. So just enjoy the sense of length coming through your spine. We're not trying to push the knees to the floor. We're not trying to get anywhere. We're just giving the body the time to adapt and respond to the posture. So deepen your breath a little. Allow your shoulders to drop. And then we'll work a little bit more actively into the spine. So taking a breath in, and as you breathe out, just beginning to move forward. So the movement is really coming from your hips. Again, your hands can be wherever you want them to be. You may keep them on your legs. You may bring them to the floor. You're welcome, actually, if you do have yoga blocks or something similar, something steady. If you want to bring your hands onto them, you can. But you don't have to. And you can explore here, coming with a straight spine. So this is a straight spine, what I'm doing at the moment. And one good way to know you're doing a straight spine is to imagine, excuse me, that you're holding an apple or a tennis ball between your chin and your chest. So your back of the neck is long. And so in this version, we're lightly engaging the muscles of the back. This means we're not stretching them. We're focusing on the stretch around the hips and the sacrum, the back of the pelvis. And then to work more deeply into the spine, you can imagine that you just let go of that apple, that tennis ball, that it just disappears, and then let your chin drop towards your chest. And then this is the beginning of the curving and rounding of your spine. So don't worry about how low you can go. Be present with the sensation of the posture. Knowing that if you need to move your hands, you can. If you want to change the position of your feet, you can. And if you're curving the spine, but you decide you want to come back to the more upright spine, you can also do that. A few more deep breaths. And then nice and slowly roll back up through the spine. So if your head has been hanging quite low, then just bring your head up last so your blood pressure has the chance to adjust. And then use your hands under your knees, lift your legs up, take your feet about in line with your hips, lean back onto your wrists or maybe onto your elbows. And just rock your knees a little bit from side to side. And you can do this with your feet on the floor. You can also lift your legs and do it this way. So just to bring a little bit of energy into the body after the stillness of that posture. Particularly this lower half of the body is very still. And then bring your feet down to the floor. Come all the way up to sitting, and we're going to sit with the legs wide here. Now, it's usually useful to have something to sit up on here, so you might have a cushion or a block to hand. These blocks aren't really so comfortable for sitting, so you could always fold over the top of your mat a few times, and then perch yourself onto that. So you want to be sitting up onto your sitting bones. It can be helpful to pull the flesh of the buttocks to the side. So your pelvis is tilted slightly, which will help you with this posture. So again, let your hands rest where it's comfortable on your legs or in between your legs, and take a few breaths here. For some people, depending on the structure of the pelvis, this can be quite hard work to sit upright. If that's true for you, you can either just stay sitting upright, or you can bring your legs together for a slightly different version of the posture. For those of you able and willing to go a little bit further, use your exhale to start to come forward. And again, you might not come very far forward here, so don't be disheartened. Moving slowly, no rush, not trying to get anywhere. Hands can stay on the floor, they can move to the legs. And so if you were doing the version with your legs together, you do the same thing, just folding forward, hands on the floor or on the legs. Your hands and your feet are really not so important in the yin practice. So you don't need to worry really about any sense of where your hands should be in relation to your feet. We're really focusing here on your spine, your lower back, your hips, and of course also a little bit into the backs of the legs. When you're ready to come up, walk the hands in towards you. Sit up tall and slide the legs together. And then we're going to bend up the knees, bring the heels close towards our buttocks, and give ourselves a little hug, like a little reward for those last couple of forward folds. So just hurling yourself into a ball, maybe rock a little from side to side if that feels good. And then, if you've rolled up your mat, you'll want to unroll it again. So we'll come to the full pigeon posture here. So you may or may not want some support in the form of blocks, cushions, pillows, blankets, whatever you've got to hand. So we'll come onto our hands and knees, and we'll take the right knee towards the wrist, and your foot is reaching to the other side of the mat. Now, just let it go as far as it will go. Don't grab it and pull it, because you can hurt your knee joint. So just wiggle that foot over as far as it will go on its own, and then reach back with your left leg as far as you can. So you're walking that leg back. Now, it's very natural, normal that your hips don't touch the floor. It's not a problem if your hips aren't touching the floor, but you may want to. Some people like to put some support on the front of their thigh and under the right buttock. So if you want to try one or both of those, you can. Your back foot toe can be curled under or foot flat, whatever's most comfortable. And we'll take a few breaths here. So in this upright pigeon pose, now if this was really hard for you, walk your hands further forward. So just finding where it's going to be comfortable for you, taking a few breaths. And then if you're enjoying this version, if you prefer this more upright version, stay here. Or if you would like to come down, sometimes called sleeping swan. The postures have different names in yin, so we call it pigeon and hatha and swan pose in yin. So if you want to come to sleeping swan, you can come forward and you can rest on your elbows. You can make a little tower by putting one fist on top of the other, resting your forehead down. You can even come all the way down to the mat. Remember to make it as comfortable as you can. And I do know that pigeon pose is not particularly comfortable for a lot of us. So don't force yourself too far. Breathe into it. Breathe into your body. And then when you're ready to come out, use your arms to lift yourself up if you're not already there. Slide any support to the side. And then come back and take a big step back into downward dog to stretch out your legs, but also so that you can notice the difference between the two legs. And then we'll take that onto the other side. So come down onto your hands and knees. Take your left knee to the ankle, to the wrist. Slide your ankle to the other side of the mat. Remember, two sides of the body are different. Walk your right leg back. And then take any support that you need, perhaps under your left buttock, perhaps under the front of the thigh, maybe both. Start in the upright version, in the full swan pose, pigeon pose. And we'll take a few breaths here. Either staying upright if this is better for you, or folding forward into sleeping swan. Now where you feel this, again, it's not the same for everyone. I'd say the most common area to feel this posture is around your outer left hip and glute. You might also be feeling it on the inside of your left hip, around the inner thigh area, around the pelvis. Maybe also some sensation across your right thigh and this right side of the pelvis. So there's not just one right way to experience the posture, there's not just one benefit. And we might even find in our own bodies that how we feel it is different each time we practice. So remember to breathe as if you could send your breath into those parts of the body that you feel opening, maybe into those parts of the body that are resisting. A few more breaths. And then use your arms, push yourself up if you're not already there. Tuck the toes, that back foot under. We're making our way into downward dog. So you can take one big step back, or you can come onto your hands and knees first. And then a downward dog. Just use this as a chance to stretch, not to try and do your best downward dog ever. So you could walk the legs out on the spot. Take your hips from one side to the other. Gently shake your head, yes and no. Just see what feels good. And then coming down onto your hands and knees. Sinking yourself, your bottom back into a child's pose. Taking your knees slightly wider apart. And then taking your right arm under your left arm. And bringing your ear down to the floor. You can keep your left arm out in front of you, or you can wrap your arms around your back. So just see what's feeling good. As you exhale, imagine really relaxing the right side of your neck to the floor. When you are ready, gently bring that left hand back down to the floor. Press firmly into it as you lift yourself back up. Take a moment just to lean forward onto your hands. Again, observing the difference in the two sides. And then taking your left hand underneath your right arm, bringing your left ear towards the floor. Either staying here with the right hand, the right arm can just relax to the mat. Or choosing to take that arm behind you. Coming out by bringing your right hand to the floor, press that hand firmly into the mat. Both hands come to the mat as you walk the hands towards you, and then preparing now to come to Shavasana. So if you've got any extra layers of clothing you want to put on, anything that will help you to be more comfortable, do feel free to take what you need. And then come all the way down to the floor, letting your arms and your legs completely relax. And perhaps just taking one final fuller and deeper breath here. Enjoying the space in your body that you've created. And then allowing yourself to relax here, absorbing the efforts of your practice. And so do Feel free to stay resting for longer if you've got the time and you would like to. Otherwise, you can start to prepare to move from your Shavasana, bringing some movement back into your body, maybe wiggling your fingers and toes, wiggling the hips, turning your head very softly from one side to the other, just small movements. Bending up your knees, rolling onto one side. Rest on your side for a moment or two. Come up to sit. And take a moment to sit comfortably. Breath in and out. And then use your inhale. Bring your arms out to the side. Imagine that you're trying to push the air up over your head. And then as your hands come up above your head, turn your palms to face down and exhale, as if you were then pushing that air all the way down, just somewhere over your belly. So your hands come to hover just over your belly. And then raising the hands to your heart as you take a breath in. Lift your breastbone, breathing out, bow your head to your heart. And ending the practice there. Well done, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for this practice. Come back to it as often as you like. There's lots of different variations to take every time that you practice, so you can keep making the practice new and fresh. I hope that your body is feeling new and fresh for you now, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.